back.
We're back.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there is more. All right, so we're going to, you've been tagged on this video. Yes. Do you want to tag? Yes. Oh, you're already tagged. Okay. Let's go through these. So, purchase versus lease. Obviously, we talked about that earlier. It just depends on a client's overall goals, right? And
Exactly.
their longevity of how long they're going to stay in the home, their financial situation. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this. You had mentioned that when people lease, they're not able to take advantage of the tax credits?
That's right. That's right. So when a family leases a system or they do the power purchase agreement, again, the PPAs are not very common anymore, but when they do what we call third-party owned systems, the company that is installing the system usually takes the tax credit because they own it. So the tax code says something simply like, I can't buy a system for somebody else and put it on their house, right? And then they take the tax credit. I'd have to take the tax credit on something that I own.
Okay, because they're financing it, so they're technically, they own it.
Exactly. And of course, I'm not an accountant.
Of course.
Talk to your CPA about all that.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Yep. Jillian, Danny Lee, thank you. Jake Wagner.
Actually, I do want to add something about the tax credits.
Yeah.
So the tax credits this year, it's a federal tax credit. So for families who want to own their system, I think that the lenders, they finally I can't say they figured it out completely. I think that there's still a better loan program that will probably surface over the next couple of years. But there's solar systems with no money down, and then they can take advantage of the tax credit. But because of finance charges, their payment might be a little bit higher. It might be a little bit, so instead of, let's say with the lease, a family can save, I don't know, $25 or $30 a month on their Nevada power bill. With a loan purchase, they might save $10 a month, or maybe they might pay $10 more a month, but they're purchasing a system, and then they get 30% of the purchase price back on their taxes, either as a tax credit, so if the customer owes money, then you could deduct that dollar amount from what they owe IRS, or if they're getting a refund, and as long as they paid enough into IRS, then they can get an additional refund. So again, you have to talk to your CPA about that, but I've had so many customers just sign up simply because they want to take advantage of the tax credits. So
and purchase them. That's why you've done more purchases than leases this year.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then at the end of this year, December 31st, 30% federal tax credit is going to drop. And then the following year, 22%, and then after that, we don't know, but it could be zero. So for families who have been considering solar, don't leave money on the table. Don't give it to IRS, or the federal government, because that money is there. So your system has to be installed by December 31st, which means that you have to pull the trigger, I would say, by November 1st to make sure, maybe the 15th of November, because the process is it's easily 4 to 6 weeks just to get the panels on the roof, let alone Nevada Power turning the system on.
And so in this tax code is federally, not just state of Nevada?
It's federal.
Okay.
There aren't any state incentives.
Okay.
No state incentives anymore.
Good to know. Check with your CPA, your tax professional, but that's good information. And that makes sense on why people are purchasing versus leasing.
Yes.
And I don't know that everybody knows that they're not getting a tax advantage with a lease.
Right.
That's something that's interesting.
That's right. Yep.
Eric Vaughn, we will put her information in the link so that your cell phone and all your personal data in the link so that you can contact her. John Cerrone, yes, but don't lease them. Yes, they're a good idea, but don't lease them. And I think John lives back east somewhere. Depends on the incentives in your state. Some states are solar friendly and others aren't there yet.
Absolutely true.
Do you think our state is solar friendly?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Compared to California?
Compared to California. California is absolutely solar friendly. We are not. Our state is not. Arizona is not. Hawaii is not. There are some states back east in the northeast where customers actually get paid to go solar, where the utility is giving them money to go solar because they have basically a power shortage and they need more families to get solar so that they can just produce on a regular basis and provide.
Couldn't NV Energy store all of our power and sell it off to other states?
Well, technically, the storage of power,
That's the problem.
without batteries is the problem, because the batteries are so expensive, and honestly, I don't think that they make sense in our market. But you know, some people, if you got to have that brand new iPhone, you want to have that Tesla battery, great. You know, I actually have sold a lot of Tesla batteries in California, but even in the California market, I don't think that I don't think it pencils out. People got money. I can't argue with them.
We just don't have the technology for the battery storage yet.
No, the technology is there.
That's cost effective, is what I mean.
That's cost effective.
Yeah,
exactly.
that we can easily
Yes.
do. I mean, remember when flat screens were $15,000?
Exactly.
I mean, now you can get them for like $300.
Yes, the technology is not there to back up or get you off grid, and also the cost. Those batteries are like $13,000 a pop.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you need more than one.
That makes sense. It just seems like here it's so beautiful all the time. Our state could benefit from
Absolutely
the tax dollars or whatever, however it works, to sell it off to places that are Seattle or somewhere that they.
politics. There's a lot of politics in solar. So Nevada Energy. Do you know who Nevada Energy is owned by?
No.
Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh.
Which is
Warren Buffett owns
That's right.
a lot of stuff.
That's right. And guess what? He is investing heavily into solar fields. That's right, in Southern California. So he's playing red and black, right? He doesn't want customers to go solar, but yet he's investing millions and millions and millions of dollars into solar fields.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're probably going to be storing it and selling it, and he's going to be making tons more money. JR, yes, you could help pigeons to have a place to stay.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, on solar panels, obviously, pigeons will burrow in our eaves and in any place they can get.
Mm-hmm.
How can homes with solar panels prevent animals from getting in there?
Critters. So
Yeah.
So depending on what type of a roof you have, I think that we find a lot of where we have the round tile roofs. Round tile roofs, I think it's a lot easier for critters to get under there because you've got those valleys.
Like ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got the valleys, and so then they can squeeze under there. But they do actually make critter barriers. That's what they're called. They're called critter guards. And so some companies will, you have to pay extra for the critter guard. The company that I like.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a great added service.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Anthony, yes, if you can afford to buy them long term, there is no way energy prices drop to a point where they become a mistake. It takes 10 plus years for them to pay themselves off, but then it's all gravy. I mean, all of it's gravy. The good kind. So, yeah.
We like gravy.
Gravy is good. Yes. You seen these hips, girl?
Have you seen mine?
We like gravy.
Yeah, mine is in my Buddha, though. So there's that's a great comment, because I think what he's talking about is if you pay cash for a system. So if you pay cash for a system, and again, this is why I'm not a big fan of forking out, thousands and thousands of dollars. Remember, in our state especially, we have those big, huge air conditioning bills in the summertime. That means we need a bigger solar system to produce that power. So the more we use is directly related to the more cost, the cost of the system. And that's another reason why in Vegas a lot of customers will actually lease, because if you've got, I had one customer that had 80 panels on their roof.
Wow.
It was over $100,000 if they were purchasing it. It was a fortune, but they decided to lease it, and they saved substantial money by leasing it, but because of what they had to fork out. So with the 10-year return on investment, if you pay cash for a system, I would say in our market, you're probably between 8 and 10 years for a return on investment and a break even. If you're in another market like California, it could be as little as 4 to 5 years because their rates are so high. In other markets, I would say on average between 6 and maybe 8 years for a break even if you're paying cash. If you are purchasing with a loan, your return on investment is day one because there's no down payment. So if I'm not putting any money out and I'm saving a few bucks, or even if I'm paying $10 or $20 extra a month because I'm financing my system, all you're doing is you're taking the money that you were going to pay, that's in your budget to pay the utility, Nevada Power, and you're just putting it over here to pay for your loan payment.
Plus you get the tax benefit.
Plus you get the tax benefit.
That
Pretty cool.
is the good, that sounds better and better
Pretty cool.
all the
Yes.
time. said something. Oh, as far as, okay, so systems, the cost of replacing an AC unit. If you have solar panels, does that mean your AC unit doesn't have to work as hard? Because you're not having it to generate so much energy to cool the house? Does that no?
No, it doesn't work that
Okay.
way. What I was saying with respect to air conditioning is that in the summertime we see our bills will double, sometimes triple, sometimes four times, depending on how cold you want your house, right?
And how good
Your
insulation, your windows, your everything.
Right.
Yeah.
If your house is facing east-west, all that stuff. So if you have a huge spike in the summertime, that usually means you need a bigger system. So on average, if you're looking at most, say, a 3-bedroom, 3 and 2 in Vegas, and you're looking at 16 to 1,800 square feet, that family, if it's a family of 4, on average, they're using about 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, which means 12,000 per year. And if our rate it's about 11.2 cents right now. That's what the rate is with Nevada Power. So what that translates to is about $125 a month electric bill. So if I just took that $125 bill and I said, okay, you know what, we're going to go with a solar loan. So I could probably get that customer, depending on how many panels we can fit on their roof and the direction to the sun and all this other stuff, I could probably get a power bill down to about $13 a month. And so now 125 minus 113 leaves 112. And then their solar loan payment is going to be somewhere between $105 to $135 a month. So maybe that customer would spend an extra $5 to $10 a month, but then they also get tax credits. So the return on investment is it's immediate.
Yeah, that's a great
cool.
point. Bob, in Vegas, heck yeah, those summertime electric bills aren't cheap. If you can get a good deal, you should go for it. In my case, they wouldn't make sense. I just got my electric bill. It was $12 for the entire month. I forget where you live, Bob, but
that's absolutely does not make sense for you. Not everybody qualifies for solar.
Yeah, no,
yes, no.
George,
but good job, good on you.
Yeah, unless you just sweat all summer. I don't know. I like.
Or you live in Alaska.
That's true. Iceland or something. George, let me know. I'll send you an expert with the lowest price in town. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of experts in town. There's a lot of companies. We're seeing more and more come into the market. Definitely say consult more than one.
Yes, absolutely. Getting multiple bids is not that's not something I'm afraid of. I'll tell you that 9 times out of 10, most of my prospects that come to me and they've got 3 or 4 different proposals, they end up going with the brand that I sell simply because of the overall value and the quality and the lower degradation rate and the technology and all that.
And the warranty.
The warranty is the most important thing, and it's funny because when I left Tesla and I became an independent consultant and I started offering all the brands. I said, listen, you want Sunrun, which was at Costco, I can get you Sunrun. You want Vivint, I can get you Vivint. I can get you all the brands. You want Panasonic, you want SunPower, you want LG, whatever brand the customer wanted, because that's what they researched, I would give them that package. But what ended up happening was I did that for about a year, and most of my customers started going towards one product. And so I stopped brokering, and
that's where you went.
That's where I went.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Sean, if you must, depends how long you plan on living in your house. We talked about that. The savings are not worth it if you only plan on living there a few years. Shop around. They are a few full of BS and rip-off companies.
Absolutely. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Just like any industry.
Just like anything.
That's
right.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. That's why we bring you these videos to introduce you to other options
and clear the air. Yep.
Yeah, and to get clear on what's the truth. Buy is better than lease. Selling a house with a solar lease has a lot of issues, or buy a newer home built after 2013 for the best energy savings. Again, I have sold houses with leased solar panels and owned solar panels and never have run into an issue. There's a few extra steps. Sometimes you got to do things, but I've never had too many issues.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, yes and no. It's like it really depends again on the market. I'll tell you this much though: homes and California and New York, they usually lead the pack with respect to most technological changes and other kinds of advancements. In California, it's already the law there that homes that are built in 2020 and after, every home that is built has to have solar. So, and when we were with Solar City at that time, we were working with over 40 communities in Las Vegas that were coming with solar. They came, it was just like an option. It was an upgrade. If you wanted to, choose your kitchen cabinets, guess what? You also had a solar appointment as well. So this is all That's coming, really... and it's so again. I think that the big question isn't if the customer is going to go solar. So if you are going to go solar, it's not the question of if, it is when. Are you going to do it now or later? Are you going to jump on the bandwagon? And it's not even a bandwagon. This is inevitable. Our population is exploding. People keep moving here. We have strained resources. And if you can take control of your power bill and you can produce your own power, it's interesting because it is actually a win-win. The utility should be thanking us for producing power that they don't have to. They could sell at retail and they don't have to buy at another rate. They can actually make profit on us.
And as real estate professionals, be educated on this. Be in front of this. So when our clients are coming to us, asking us, now you're not the solar expert, but you have resources to send your people that you trust to get the information, and they can pick who they want. But this is important for us. Like, it was at a conference last week. Nevada Realtors had a conference, and it was about technology disrupting our industry. iBuyers and Zillow and OfferPad and all. It looks different. And what one of the speakers said was, technology is not putting realtors out of business.
Right.
Realtors that use technology are going to put realtors out of business.
That's right.
Just like the solar stuff. It is the way things are going.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are old enough and been in the books to get around.
That's right.
Before the internet started.
Thomas Guide. That's right.
My dad still does. He doesn't have
let me tell you something. I'm old enough that I remember when MLS was on a card deck. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that old. Take it. No.
That's okay. I earned my stripes.
Anyway, it's staying in front of it.
Yes.
It's staying ahead of stuff. If you just don't get educated on things, you will be left behind.
Absolutely.
And as real estate professionals, do you still consult with real estate offices?
Oh, absolutely.
So brokers, if you want to have someone come in and speak to your people, like, this is a great opportunity. So anyway, good people.
And I'll even buy your lunch.
We like lunch.
I'll do your lunch and learn. Yep.
Real estate agents, you buy us
We
wine
like to eat.
and chips.
We like gifts.
Marta, owned outright. Otherwise, it's difficult to get a buyer when you sell. It can be complicated when we own ours.
So I want to actually speak to that.
Yeah.
Because just like what you were saying earlier, I mean, I think education is obviously number one. With anything that you're looking into, you want to educate yourself. But especially as real estate, agents, as professionals, we want to be able to speak to solar and what it does for a customer.
Yeah.
So the thing is that owning outright, yeah, that's a great thing. But if a client, a prospective client has a lease system, get some education on it. Reach out. Because the thing is that you want to be able to market that home with solar being a feature, not a negative.
Yeah.
It's just like if I have a swimming pool and I want to sell my home. Well, the next buyer that comes, they don't want a swimming pool. So guess what? If my agent doesn't put that I have a pool, and then all of a sudden that the cooperating agent shows up with this client that doesn't want a pool and they see a pool, that's going to be irritating. It's frustrating. It's wasting time. So what you want to do is you want to say, hey, this is a solar energy efficient home. And when you do that, you're not talking to any prospective buyers that don't want solar. That's number one.
And people don't even know that they don't want it
because they don't know anything about it. Exactly.
Exactly. That's a great point. It's not that they don't want a pool; they're just ignorant about pools.
They don't know what the benefit. Exactly. They don't know what the cost or the benefit is.
Exactly.
And so the same thing.
Great point.
What future owner of a home would not want solar that protects them against rate hikes? If you could buy gas, so think about this. 20 years ago, if you could have bought enough gas and stored it at your local gas station for whenever you wanted to gas up your car for the last 20 years, you know that you would have locked in your price at $1.11 per gallon.
That's interesting.
That's the same thing that solar does for a customer.
Okay, that's a great analogy. That's a great example.
Crazy, right?
Alicia Fry, yes. Free energy from the sun once the panels are paid for. A great investment for a long-term dwelling place.
Yes.
Alicia, she's our WLS sister. Do you know Alicia? Alicia Fry?
Yes.
Alicia, she's in Colorado now.
All right.
Frank, only if you buy them, no lease. A lot of these are kind of repetitive, but make sure, if you guys have questions, make sure to post them because we want to address them. This is you. Absolutely, yes. Leased or owned, depending on the family's needs, budget, and goals, like we talked about. Every little bit helps when it comes to our environment. That's true.
Yeah.
So, in regards to our environment, is there any studies that what benefits the solar has for our environment? Like,
Tons.
give us an example.
Tons. So, oh gosh, it's, and I honestly don't even remember what the equivalent is, but I do know that most families that have solar, they have access to a monitoring app, and in that app, it will show how much electricity their system has produced to date, and then it will show what the translation is with respect to how many trees it's saved, how many cars it's taken off of the road, how much carbon dioxide it's eliminated from the atmosphere. So it's really cool because they should have a monitoring system to make sure it's working, and then that gives with a translation. So it's nice because a family can actually pull up their app and they go, wow, this is how much electricity that I made. Oh, wow, and I saved X amount of trees.
Does
cool.
your system, the company you're working with now, do they have that app?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
And Solar City Tesla does, and
They all do.
Sunrun, the big companies do. The smaller companies, I can't say.
Yeah.
They should.
Scott Chambers, totally relative to so many variables. Our friends live in a mansion in Orange County and spend thousands a month for electric. For them, they will actually get paid to install them. But some 9-to-5 blue-collar guy in Utah who spends a couple $100 a month, probably not a good idea. Either way, the math is the same. If ROI investment is a positive, yep, do it. If ROI investment is negative, no way, Jose.
So the question becomes, again, ROI, when customers are talking about ROI, we're talking about a cash purchase. So if a customer isn't paying cash, the ROI is immediate. It's day one. But if you're talking about purchasing a system for your home and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to sell my home within 5 years, are you going to get the ROI with respect to the financial savings on your utility bill? Probably not. But will you get a break even or more when you go to sell your home, meaning increased value because you've purchased your system cash? Probably yes.
Can we talk about technology changes so fast. If you're in a 20-year lease on solar panels, won't technology change in 20 years?
So
won't those be outdated in 10 years?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So
what is the thought behind that?
So what's interesting about solar technology is that, and this is with respect not just to solar, but like wind and other technologies that create electricity, that products that create electricity don't, the speed of the technology change is like a slug. It's very, very slow for products that create electricity. But like your cell phone, a camera, a computer, things that consume electricity, super lickety split, fast. Okay,
that makes sense.
So in the last, I don't remember the exact statistic, but I think that it's something like in the last 15 or 20 years in solar, the increase in technology has been by like 3 to maybe 6% increase, which is really
very slow.
Wow, in 15, 20 years. Now, does that not mean that maybe there might be some other thing other than solar that can create electricity that comes out? Maybe, but with what the solar cells are made of now, it's made from sand, silica. So what I do like again about the brand that I represent is that they're leading the way with respect to technology, and every other company wants to be them, and they're trying to catch up to their technology, which is really cool. So they stay ahead of it, and also while their technology has been patented, they've also, as their patents are expiring, they're letting them become open, so other companies can use it too, and yet other companies won't.
Interesting. Well, you've seen it progress over the last 5 years. So, and you've worked for different companies. So that's an asset to you because you know.
Yeah, the difference. Absolutely.
Alexis, Scott Chambers, this is a solid answer. I've seen people here. Alexis, I think, lives in Mexico. I've seen people here get back the investment in 2 years. It's simple consumption versus investment. Let me add, we get 12 hours of sun on average here, so it helps a lot.
Yeah, and that's another thing too with where we are in Vegas, because we're south and we're closer to the border. I mean, I just came from the Northern California Bay Area market, and while PG&E rates are like double, they're anywhere from double to even quadruple our rates here during the summer. But they don't get as much sun exposure as we do.
Their rates are triple our rates?
Sometimes 4 times. Yeah.
I don't know how people live there.
It's horrible.
It's like so crazy.
And
it's
hence
crazy.
why I'm back.
Hence why we sell real estate here. You could sell your California house. Come on.
And buy 3
buy
here.
3 of them
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely. Yes.
And nice ones too.
Yes.
Michael, another problem with solar panels is the installation. They are screwed directly to the roof, often causing leaks. I don't hear too much talk about those ramifications. Let's talk about that. So, like a brand new home, does putting solar on it void your roof warranty?
It can.
It can. You have to check with your builder.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. And depending on the company that installs your system, it could be a problem. So if you use a small company that doesn't have, I keep saying, boots on the ground, they don't have a local warehouse, they are not local, or they're not big enough to have staff here. I mean, some of these smaller companies that knock on your door, they're coming from out of state, and then what they do is they sell a bunch of systems, and then they bring a crew from out of state, and they come in and they install for 2 weeks, and they're out of here. Right? They might be picking up guys at Home Depot, right? So yeah, absolutely. Your roof, there could be leaks. If you have a flat roof and someone wants to penetrate, run the other direction, because that is not the way to install a solar system on a flat roof. On a flat roof, you want to have what we call a ballast system, which means that it's installed on a rack that sits on top of on the roof with weights. And so there's no penetrations into the roof, so there's no leaks. Because on a flat roof, it will absolutely leak over time, just because we have that heat and cold cycles, the expansion, contraction. So yes, the panels are going to be secured to your roof. Some will penetrate the beams. It depends on what type of hardware they use. Most of the time, we're going to remove a tile and replace it with a similar shaped metal flashing. And then it's all sealed to, exceed roofing standards. So it all has to be done to code. So
with the professional.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you want to make sure that the company that you use is professional, that they've got boots on the ground, that they're going to be around to warrant the system. And that's where earlier I was talking about the warranty.
Yeah.
Remember, we've got the panel product, we've got the production guarantee, and then we have workmanship. Workmanship is the labor and shipping, and if something goes wrong, that someone is going to be there to fix it for you.
And the roof that includes the roof. Workmanship?
That includes the roof.
Installation?
Yes, absolutely. Now here's the thing. Again, check the warranty, because in Exhibit B, it's going to tell you how long the roof warranty is. A lot of companies only have a 1 or 2 year roof penetration warranty. I would not work with a company that has anything less than a 10-year roof penetration warranty.
Yeah, that's good to know. All right, Lori, ideally yes, but many times it comes down to cost. Even in cars, you don't save more, not including intrinsic value. Scott Higgins tagged someone. Todd's in Tahoe. I'd like to here in Northern Nevada. I would put them into the construction budget. Let me know. I prefer not to get ripped off. Todd's an agent in the Tahoe area. I think he's both California on the border there, California and
Tahoe area.
Yeah, I'll introduce you to him. Are you just solar? You're in both California, like you can
California,
sell anywhere, right?
Yeah, California and Vegas,
here.
Nevada.
Okay. Adam, it depends where you live and how quickly you recover your total costs. In my opinion, it takes you 7 to 10 years. No. If you have to finance, no. We kind of addressed that. Yeah. Jim. Okay, this is a interesting comment, but we have an answer for you, my friend.
Yes, we do.
If installed speed device certification for radiation, yes. If not, then no, because if they cause interference to other customer products, the homeowner is responsible to fix it.
Yep.
That is a cost. That costs a lot because they have to take the system apart and add the filters that should be installed in every system when finish install.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's go back to that. So Jim, I'm not trying to avoid it at all, but this goes back to the brand, okay? The brand of panels. So if they are compliant or not, and the company that I represent is. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Felix, yes. Kim Thomas. We used a company now out of business to purchase the first 6 panels and assorted hardware, $12,000. Took us a couple years to pay off the loan. Second array, I bought myself with a hardware. I bought myself with the hardware copied from first set, $600, and produces a little over 1 kVh.
I think it's supposed to be a kilowatt. Yeah,
Power bill in August was $6 with a lot of AC running power bill. This month is cooler, $1.65.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that doesn't sound like it's Vegas.
In California, but they're side grads and
yeah, I don't know what system they she said that she got another system that was similar or something, or that was the same
before a company that went out of business.
Yeah. So you know, I'm guessing that she probably had like a local contractor or something. She did a DIY type of system. Totally doable. Oh, I'm sorry, Kim. Sorry, Kim. Totally doable. I think that's awesome. I think it's great that you could take control and you have that type of a resource. If you can do it yourself, absolutely, because you're the one who's going to warrant your system. So just, you know, again, with respect to product warranties, take a look at the individual product warranties. I'm also not a big fan of the standard inverter, which what they call is a string inverter, and without getting into the weeds on that, I really like the micro inverters, and so different technology, but it's much more reliable and more efficient.
When you have warranties with manufacturers, do you have to like register with them? You know how you know, like you got to do with your coffee pot. You don't need, you know, or whatever. You get this little card in there, and you kind of almost throw it out.
That's right.
So you do have to register with them.
Yeah. So actually, there is one big name brand that does not register the panels. In 15, 20, 25 years, if you have a problem with it and you cannot show that your system was registered, or you cannot show the paperwork, and this is a name brand.
Yikes.
This is more of a premium company. They are a big company, and if there's so much fine print, there's so much details to get out of warranting your system, including the customer has to take photos of the panel that they think is defective, front and back, and send that off to them for review. And so if the company says, oh, okay, yeah, there's something wrong with it, now the customer has to pay for shipping and then labor of the new part. And if they say, oh no, we can't tell if there's something wrong with it, then the customer has to take the panel off of their roof and ship the panel. So and that's one of the big companies and one of the big name brands, and you know, I can't work with a company like that.
Yeah, I
Not
appreciate
cool.
that you're not aligned with a company like that.
Yeah.
Jeff Skinner, absolutely. It's a no-brainer. Muscle.
We're goofballs.
Eric, no, unless you know all of the hidden downsides. Your
Yes.
underlayment's life cycle on the roof will be reduced in about half, which means instead of lasting 20, 30 years, it will only last 10 to 15. Why? The heat panels absorb, deteriorates the underlayment of much higher pace. Have you heard of this?
So I might have to take up my class.
There is a really long paragraph, Eric.
Oh, I would love to talk to you.
Eric, I think Eric is the. I thought Eric was a lender in. There is a whole bunch of stuff here. You know what? Will you mind going back into this and replying to address this? There's a whole lot here.
Absolutely. It looks pretty lengthy.
Yeah, I would think would probably be some good information in regards to roof and panels and made in China, and you price them out generally. They see. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
It sounds like there's a lot of truth there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information, which is good because it sounds like you've done your research. I think that he said something about reducing the life like by half. That I wouldn't agree with that necessarily, but I'm sure that there are some lower end panels. So for some people are like, yeah, I want to get the cheapest product out there. Absolutely, you know, those panels are taking a beating on your roof, and there's going to be degradation issues for sure.
Yeah. All right, great. We'll
address
address
the warranty
that.
again. That has to go back to the warranty.
Manufacturer warranty.
Yes.
You know the answer. Eric Tarno.
Good job, Eric. Love
you
it.
know Eric, right?
Yeah.
I coached PLD on his team.
It's in your
and
little book.
And as coaches, we got these binders. We got all our players in here. And he used to always be like, you know the secrets to the answer to this question. You guys
it's in
have
your
it.
book. It's
So
in
that's
your
what
book.
he's saying.
Nice. Love it. Good times. Thanks for bringing me back to PLD.
Chris Solomon, yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's the difference between owning and renting your power. I've helped many people make this no-brainer of a choice in the past year. If you don't know about the solar investment tax credit and how the government will pay for a large portion of the solar system, PM me and I can give you all the info needed to make a smart choice. Yeah, we talked about that, the solar credit. And so, obviously, Google solar investment tax credit, and it'll tell you all the ins and outs. And talk to your accountant about that. That definitely is a pro to, especially for people looking for tax write-offs.
That's right.
Billy Joe, I am personally against them as it stands. The current inputs for production and then the savings take longer to recover than the current lifespan of most panels. Also, most people do not own their home long enough to recover the investment.
So Billy Joe, I think Billy Joe's in Canada, right?
I don't know where he's at anymore.
I'm not sure.
I
love you, Billy Joe, but I'm sorry, I have to disagree. And I'll tell you why. What's interesting is that in California, most homeowners, they are in their house until they drop dead. Sorry, I hate to say that.
Because they can't afford it.
They can't afford to move. That's right. So, but there is a lot of, it's funny because there's a lot of consistent themes in the comments.
Yes.
And it all comes down to cost and savings and return on investment. And really, at the end of the day, I think people are forgetting the whole point of going solar is to save the planet. Can we get into that mode? I mean, that to me, that's my reason. That's what makes it a no-brainer for me. If it doesn't cost me any more, or if it costs me $10 more to go solar because I want to get a loan, but I'm going to get tax credits that could be thousands of dollars, it's still a no-brainer. I mean, you're talking about if you've got a $30,000 solar system, 30% federal tax credit is $9,000. $9,000
A year?
For that first year.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to
And
get,
then it
right?
changes. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get any more, but
Yeah.
but what that means is that your system now costs $21,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So are you going to spend $21,000 in electricity over the next 20 years, you think? In Nevada, in Vegas? If the average homeowner is spending $125 in electricity on their bill in Vegas, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with 1,600 to 1,800 square feet, $125 a month. What is it? I have to get my calculator.
I don't know.
But
it's a lot of money.
Let's say it's more than $1,200 in a year, right?
Yeah.
So in 10 years, that's $12,000. So in 20 years, that's $24,000.
So
with no inflation.
If I sign a 20-year lease, let's just call it a lease. I'll ask both questions. If I sign a 20-year lease, am I locked in with NV Energy that I'm going to be, because those other people were grandfathered in, am I locked into this agreement with NV Energy for 20 years?
The current agreement, yes.
This agreement.
Yes.
So even if I buy solar panels
at the current
today, solar panels, or have a payment on them,
or
but purchase them, I'm still also, is there a 20-year agreement?
Yes, with Nevada Power.
With Nevada Power.
So we're locked in.
It's called a NEM
agreement, yes, it's a contract.
Do you know the rates of Nevada Power 20 years ago versus today?
Oh, you know what?
You should
look that up.
That would be interesting to see.
I had that 2 months ago. So before I left, I had those numbers. Makes sense?
And now it's 11 and
11.2. Yeah. So
it's almost tripled. Well, double plus.
Yeah.
So in 20 years, I mean, it's still going to be really good.
Sure. Absolutely. So to give you an idea, so a family, if they want to lease their system, they can lock in their rate at about 10 cents. They could even lock it in lower, maybe even 9 cents, if they have the right roof, meaning the sun is shining, pure south facing, that type of thing. Lock in that rate for 20 years versus the 11 cents. So now it doesn't sound like a lot, it's a couple of pennies, but over time it really adds up. If a family purchases and pays cash for a system, then the rate drops to about 5 or 6 cents. And if they finance their system, they're right around between 8 and 9 cents. And it all depends on how much sun is getting to the roof.
Yeah.
So, but that's how families save money. So the funny thing is that most of these comments have to do with saving money, return on investment, save money. Are you going to save money with solar? Yes. How much money are you going to save? I don't know. It
Yeah.
could be $5 a month. It could be, $150 a month if you pay cash.
Well, we make a power bill payment every month, like you said.
You're
Like,
going to pay it anyway.
We're paying NV Energy every single month.
That's right.
And we spend a lot of money on power bills especially in the summer. I love this conversation. Do you have anything that we may not have gone over that you think is important?
We talked a lot.
Yeah, we have a two-part thing here.
I was not expecting to do this, all this.
I know. I hope you didn't have.
I gotta clean my house.
Yeah, I know. This is a long conversation.
So really, just to sum everything up, I think that there's three main reasons that people go solar, and I think that the original reason that most people think that they go solar, it's all the comments there is that they want to save money, and I always say, yeah, of course you're gonna save money, but what's more important to the customer? The other two big reasons that customers go solar is to control their cost against inflation and against the utility. So in my opinion, I think control is a bigger reason to go solar than even saving money. Because the families are going to save money regardless, and a family is going to pay money for electricity no matter what.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. So we're just going to redirect that payment towards whether it's a lease or a loan payment, and we're just going to use that same money to pay for electricity, but now we gain control because it's on our roof. So control is the second major reason, and I think that's bigger than saving money. And then the third one is the environment. So for me, environment was my motivator, but it doesn't have to be your motivator. Whatever the reason that a family wants to go solar, they're going to go solar for their reasons no matter what. It might just be keeping up with the Joneses. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you choose the right product, you choose the right company, and you have the right warranty. Those are the three major questions that you want to talk to with any solar provider, and make sure they've got boots on the ground, that they're going to be around. So
in your area.
That's it.
Yeah. And as real estate professionals, get educated.
Yes.
Sonia can come to your office, does consultations, one-on-one, do it in your office. But this is important to be able to represent our clients in the best way possible, that we are educated. The house that my buyer right now is purchasing has solar. It said nowhere in the marketing of this house anything about solar.
Nice.
Just a little, on the
Check
MLS
the
down.
box.
That was it.
That's not good.
And I was excited when I saw that he had solar, because he's very very, very conscious-minded.
Well, and also you're educated too.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if and I've been in real estate for 24 years, going on 25 years as a broker in California and here in town. And the thing is that if I didn't get educated, I wouldn't know how to market. Like that, for whatever reason, that agent just checked the box is because they didn't know how solar was going to affect the transaction, the next buyer. But if you are in the business, get educated, learn what it looks like, talk to the company that installed the system, get the paperwork started. It's not a big deal. It's one piece of paper and it's a signature. So
thank you for taking the time. I mean, this was like a 2 hour 45-minute deal, but I appreciate you. And do you do classes in California too? Consults?
I do, yeah. So I do training. I do training in California and here locally, and then I like to do lunch and learns, and have me come out to your office, or I'm actually going to start a new meetup here locally. I
love
a meetup
it.
in Bay Area too.
I love it. Yep, she's in the Bay Area, sells real estate and solar there. If you are a consumer, contact us. We'll get you hooked up. She can she'll do a review of your contract and a review of your existing energy bill that you have solar already, and have a look.
Pre or post solar bill review.
So you know what you're looking at. What are you spending? And if you're a realtor, contact us and we'll get you hooked up for some education.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Edumacation. We like
it's
it.
good. Always learning and growing. That's why we do what we do, right?
Thanks for making me work.
Bye, friends.
Bye.